Caitlyn Clark not coming back tomorrow.
Like Stephanie White has made it clear, Caitlyn Clark will not play tomorrow.
How about Caitlyn? Is she going to be ready for tomorrow?
Oh, not for tomorrow, no.
Something shocking just happened. Caitlyn Clark, the face of the WNBA and the biggest reason fans are tuning in, will not be suiting up against the Atlanta Dream. And trust me, it's not just another game she's missing. It's a sign that things are getting even worse behind the scenes.
Caitlyn Clark make a return, and they got to figure out a way. I know I can't hate to stress this, but they got to figure out a way to finesse a way.
What exactly is going on? Why is the Fever taking this route? And what does this mean for Caitlyn's future, her team, and the entire WNBA?
Stephanie White did talk today, gave an update.
In today's video, we're breaking it all down in full detail, from the latest update by head coach Stephanie White to the reactions exploding across the league.
Clark said Thursday, after being reevaluated over the weekend, she could possibly return for Tuesday's tilt. She would not rush back.
You do not want to miss this. But before we jump in, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment with CC 100% if you're still riding with Caitlyn Clark, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any breaking updates like this. Let's get into it.
Stephanie White spoke at Fever practice. Stephanie White back around the team. She had missed the last game due to personal reasons. Austin Kelly stepped in, did a great job.
Caitlyn Clark will not take the court against the Atlanta Dream. And according to head coach Stephanie White, it's not just about resting. It's about making the right long-term decision. After being evaluated over the weekend, Clark was allowed to return to some basketball activities, including limited practice. But that doesn't mean she's game ready.
You know, I think for us, it's we've got to work, both her and Sophie, back into are they in basketball condition, you know.
Coach White was clear. Clark is not yet in full basketball condition. She explained that while Caitlyn has started ramping up her activity, doing some shooting and light drills, she hasn't been cleared for full contact 5-on-5 action. And that's the key difference. It's one thing to move through drills. It's another to hit game speed, lateral movements, and physical matchups.
Stephanie White said Monday, Clark is, quote, ready to start ramping back up and has been allowed to participate in some, but not all of practice. Quote, we're going to be smart, we're going to be cautious, and we're going to play the long game and work her back in very intentionally.
Stephanie White emphasized that the team is going to be smart and cautious. She repeated the phrase, playing the long game, meaning they're focused on Caitlyn's overall health and not just the short-term need to win games. This isn't just about tomorrow's game. It's about the whole season.
You do have to wonder if this is something that has been nagging her. Stephanie White said it was a new injury. There was some question.
She had a minor quad strain in the preseason that was well managed. Now, here's the issue. She was cleared to play just before the start of the season, but then re-aggravated.
Especially considering this is an injury Clark has reportedly aggravated more than once already this year. So for now, the Fever are holding her back. No green light, no jersey, no Caitlyn Clark on the court against Atlanta. Head coach Stephanie White confirmed that Clark has not been cleared for full contact basketball activity. Yes, she's been easing back into light practice.
Both of them being out for long periods of time, you've got to work your way back into being game ready. Fever schedule, tomorrow night, Dream not coming back.
Doing one-on-one drills and some controlled shooting, but let's be very clear. She has not participated in any 5-on-5 full-speed scrimmages. That means no lateral movement under pressure, no high-intensity play, and definitely no full-court action. Without that green light, there's no way she can step into a WNBA game, especially against a team like the Dream that plays with speed and physicality.
Caitlyn Clark's status for the game today, or game tomorrow, is official. Her status is official. And it is, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all, because at the end of the day, Caitlyn being healthy in September means more than Caitlyn being healthy in June.
The injury in question? A lingering quad issue. This isn't just a minor tweak. It's something that's been aggravated and is clearly requiring more recovery time than anyone anticipated. In fact, according to White, the Fever are playing the long game with Clark. They don't want to rush her back only for her to get re-injured, which would be devastating not just for this season, but possibly her entire rookie campaign. This approach, while smart, is also raising alarms. The Indiana Fever know exactly what's at stake.
Caitlyn Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. I'm so happy. I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlyn Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
Caitlyn Clark isn't just another player. She's the centerpiece of the franchise and the biggest draw in all of women's basketball right now. Ratings, ticket sales, and even WNBA media coverage have dipped noticeably since she's been sidelined. That's not speculation, it's measurable.
White said the same goes for Sophie Cunningham, who has been limited to just 4 games this season due to an ankle injury. White said that Cunningham was also limited in Monday's practice.
Ticket prices for Fever games without Clark have dropped dramatically, and media buzz has nearly vanished. And here's the scary part. It's not just about missing this game. The way Stephanie White is talking, it sounds like Clark could miss multiple games moving forward. When asked whether Clark could be ready for the next matchup against the Liberty, the answer was a clear maybe. And when coaches start throwing around words like cautious, long-term, and ramping up, that's code for don't expect her back anytime soon. So if you were hoping this was just a precaution for one night, you may want to buckle up. This is turning into something bigger.
Well, it looks like a reactivation of the initial injury she had in preseason, which was also minor. So 2 weeks is the right time frame to really shut her down, let it rest, control the potential swelling that can develop in the thigh.
With Caitlyn Clark officially sidelined and Sophie Cunningham still not fully recovered from her own ankle injury, the Indiana Fever are facing a critical test of their depth. This isn't just about losing star power. It's about how the entire structure of the team shifts when 2 key players are out. Right now, the Fever are being forced to adjust on the fly. Without Clark, the offensive rhythm changes dramatically. She's not just a scorer, she's a floor general, a playmaker, and the focal point of opposing defenses. Her absence puts more pressure on players like Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hall to carry the load. And so far, they've stepped up.
As the Indiana Fever put out the report, the status update for the first preseason game against the Washington Mystics, and Caitlyn Clark, the only player on it, listed as questionable with a left leg injury.
Boston in particular has been impressive, maintaining elite efficiency despite seeing double teams more frequently without Clark drawing defensive attention. But the most interesting wrinkle in this situation is the temporary addition of A.R. McDonald. Signed as a short-term fill-in, McDonald has been making waves, averaging around 9 points, 4 assists, and 5 steals per game. She's brought defensive intensity and hustle, becoming a fan favorite almost overnight. However, there's a catch. She can only stay on the roster until either Caitlyn or Sophie returns.
The Indiana Fever have just about, they've kept the flow. Like, even if they lose their next 2 games, they might lose even with her.
That puts Indiana in a tough spot. They're balancing short-term performance with long-term roster strategy. McDonald's emergence is making the eventual decision more difficult. But based on current rules, one of these 3 players will be the odd one out once the roster is full again. All this makes it clear, Clark's absence isn't just a personal setback. It's affecting the team's chemistry, rotations, and possibly even their season outlook.
She's not coming back. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on this, but I wanted to touch on it. After facing the Atlanta Dream on Tuesday, the Fever won't play again until Saturday when they host the Liberty, giving the team ample practice time to see whether Clark and Cunningham are inching closer to their returns.
Now let's talk about why the Indiana Fever are choosing caution, even when the pressure is on to play their superstar. At first glance, it might seem like this is just about one injury. But when you zoom out, you realize the Fever are managing something much bigger than a single game. Caitlyn Clark isn't just their top player. She's their entire brand right now. Every time she steps on the court, it's headline news.
Caitlyn Clark is the driving force behind the interest in the Fever and the interest in the WNBA at large.
Every time she scores, clips go viral. The Fever aren't just protecting her. They're protecting the WNBA's most valuable asset. And here's the hard truth. Quad injuries are notoriously tricky. They're deceptive. A player might feel good one day during light drills, but as soon as they push at game speed or take contact, the risk of re-injury skyrockets. That's why you're hearing words like progression, movement patterns, and rhythm from Coach White. They're not throwing her into the fire without knowing exactly how her body responds.
We've got to work both Clark and Sophie back in. Are they in basketball condition? What does it mean to go live? It's one thing to do some shooting drills. It's another thing to go out on the floor, get back into movement, patterns, rhythm, timing. We're picking and choosing the things that can be in practice so we can see their progress.
Let's not forget, this is the same league that needs Caitlyn Clark healthy for national broadcasts, packed arenas, and sponsor deals. When she sits, ticket prices plummet. TV viewership drops. Casual fans turn away. The Fever saw this happen immediately after her injury. A game that would have sold for $300 a ticket suddenly dropped to $8. That's not a coincidence. That's Caitlyn Clark's power. So what's the Fever's move? Delay now, dominate later. Coach White and the medical staff are clearly opting to build Clark back up carefully.
Right, she's itching to get back. This is a young lady who hasn't missed a game in 8 years, going back to her high school career. So she's not used to being in this position where she has to watch her teammates play while she's on the sidelines, on the bench. Now, based on all your expertise and quad injuries that you've witnessed over the years, what is the timeline for her to recover from this injury?
Letting her practice in pieces, watching how she responds, and only bringing her back when she can go full force. The last thing they want is a premature return that ends in a season-ending injury. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, fans want to see her. But this is a smart investment move. The Fever aren't playing for one win in June. They're trying to build a contender for years. Caitlyn Clark can't do that from the bench or on the injured list. This team knows that, and deep down, most fans do too.
Caitlyn Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlyn Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
Which of the highlights presented by Lexus was your favorite? Let's check out these highlights. Hopefully there ain't no music, man. Oh, gotta kill that. Shout out to Aaliyah Boston, man. She's been showing up and showing out too this upcoming basketball season. Now they did launch, so for those of you guys, I meant to make a video about this last week when this news came out. So
when will Caitlyn Clark return? That's the question every Fever fan is asking. And while there's no official date set, there are clear signs pointing to what's next. Coach Stephanie White mentioned that Clark is in the early stages of ramping back up. She's practicing, but not fully. That means no full scrimmages, no real-time game reps. Yet. And while it's frustrating for fans, the coaching staff is prioritizing caution. Why? Because pushing her too fast, especially after aggravating the injury more than once, could risk her long-term health and potentially derail the entire season.
Here's the thing, most refs aren't going to blow the whistle in that situation. And I understand the frustration that I think comes the most with officiating is the inconsistencies of officiating. Big injury news in the WNBA.
Caitlyn Clark will be sidelined for at least 2 weeks.
2 weeks is the right number.
Caitlyn Clark is going to miss the next 2 weeks with a quad strain.
She was cleared to play just before the start of the season, but then re-aggravated. And here's the problem with a quad strain. A lot of inflammation can develop around this small tear.
Now let's look at the schedule. After the matchup against the Atlanta Dream, which she's already ruled out for, the Fever don't play again until Saturday against the New York Liberty. It's a big game, nationally televised. That could be a target for her return. But some analysts are suggesting the team may wait until June 17th, when Indiana faces the Connecticut Sun. That would give Clark a few more days of practice and reduce the risk of re-injury.
You do have to wonder if this is something that has been nagging her. Stephanie White said it was a new injury. There was some question.
She had a minor quad strain in the preseason that was well managed. Now here's the issue. She was cleared to play just before the start of the season, but then re-aggravated.
There's also a strategic angle here. The Liberty game is high pressure. The Sun matchup, it's a bit more manageable and could serve as a tune-up game to help Clark get back into rhythm without the same spotlight or intensity. And here's something else to watch: her impact when she does return.
Let me show you an example of why Caitlyn Clark fans are claiming that the WNBA not stepping in to protect their cash cow, the WNBA not stepping in to protect their only draw, their only star, could have led to this injury.
With Clark back on the floor, we're likely to see an immediate boost in team performance, not just in scoring, but in player efficiency across the board. For example, Aaliyah Boston has seen her shot attempts cut nearly in half without Clark feeding her the ball. When Clark returns, Boston could explode offensively. The two have undeniable chemistry, and their two-woman game is a major weapon for Indiana. So the bottom line, the return is coming, and when it does, it could shift the entire season.
Well, it looks like a reactivation of the initial injury she had in preseason, which was also minor. So 2 weeks is the right time frame to really shut her down, let it rest, control the potential swelling that can develop in the thigh.
Here's where it gets even more serious. Not just for Caitlyn Clark, not just for the Fever, but for the entire WNBA. Because her absence isn't just noticeable, it's exposing a harsh reality the league has been trying to ignore. Let's be honest, the WNBA's momentum right now is built almost entirely around one player.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
Caitlyn Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. I'm so happy. I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlyn Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
Caitlyn Clark. The stats don't lie. When she plays, arenas sell out. When she doesn't, you can get in for under $10. YouTube content dries up. SportsCenter doesn't cover the game. Even betting activity, yes, people putting money on games, is down dramatically when she's not on the court. And while there's a lot of talent in the league, none of it moves the needle like Clark.
Caitlyn Clark is the driving force behind the interest in the Fever and the interest in the WNBA at large.
They're 4-6. Then they go and play. She comes back for the Sun, the Valkyries game. They're 6-6. And being 6-6 on the season is what the Aces were last season. Being 6-6 on the season is fine. They have another 32 games left to play.
Fans aren't turning up for anyone else the way they do for her. And that's not a knock on the other players. It's just the truth. It took Caitlyn one season to do what others couldn't do in a decade. That's why so many people are starting to ask the uncomfortable question, what happens if she misses more games?
Ryan Howard was all over Caitlyn Clark. Elbows, shoulders, pushing on her, applying pressure to that leg, which led up to this injury.
That would be 4 games that she is going to miss at minimum.
What happens if this injury lingers? The league can't afford to lose her. Not now. Not when she's drawing millions of new fans, bringing in new sponsors, and giving women's basketball its biggest spotlight in history. Even legends like Dawn Staley have publicly admitted it. Caitlyn Clark is the reason for the explosion of women's basketball. She's already being called one of the greatest to ever do it, and she's just getting started.
Here's the thing. Most refs aren't going to blow the whistle in that situation. And I understand the frustration that I think comes the most with officiating is the inconsistencies of officiating. Big injury news in the WNBA.
Caitlyn Clark will be sidelined for at least 2 weeks.
2 weeks is the right number.
Caitlyn Clark is going to miss the next 2 weeks with a quad strain.
She was cleared to play just before the start of the season, but then re-aggravated. And here's the problem with a quad strain. A lot of inflammation can develop around this small tear.
So while her missing the Atlanta Dream game might seem small, it's not. It's a warning shot. If the WNBA doesn't protect its stars, doesn't adapt its game, and doesn't keep building around this moment, it risks losing the very thing that's keeping it alive right now. The league, the team, the fans.
Obviously, Caitlyn's carrying a lot on her shoulders, a big star that is coming to a lot of these buildings. And
everyone is feeling the impact. And without her, everything is at risk of collapsing fast.
Who had appeared in 185 consecutive games between her career at Iowa and her time with the Indiana Fever. 139 games with the Iowa Hawkeyes. She never missed one.
Let me show you an example of why Caitlyn Clark fans are claiming that the WNBA not stepping in to protect their cash cow, the WNBA not stepping in to protect their only draw, their only star, could have led to this injury.
So there you have it. Caitlyn Clark is officially out against Dream, and the situation is more serious than fans expected. But don't count her out for long. Whether it's the Liberty game or the matchup against the Sun, her return is coming. And when it does, expect fireworks.
It has been announced by the Indiana Fever that she will be out for 2 weeks minimum following a quad strain.
Now we want to hear from you. Do you think the Fever are making the right call by playing it safe with Caitlyn Clark? Or should she be back on the court already? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you want to stay locked in with the latest updates, game breakdowns, and real talk on all things WNBA, especially Caitlyn Clark, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a post. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.